Hello and welcome into tonight's CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable. I'm your host, Nick Qualia, sitting here with Marv per usual. And we have a substitute new third co-host. If you guys are very familiar with CLNS Media, which you're watching this, you probably are. You know Alex from all of our on-field coverage. He's one of our boots on the ground down at Gillette Stadium every week, all throughout the week for all the great Patriots coverage that we pump out here at CLNS Media. Alex, what's up, man? Thanks for coming on.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
This is the first Patriots Roundtable for you this season, so we're rolling right now. Let's kick it off with some N'Keal Harry talk. N'Keal Harry coming back from IR, presumed. So let's just talk like he is going to be back on the roster for sure, 100%. Obviously, we don't know if he's going to be on the roster 100%, but hypothetically, let's act like he is going to be. N'Keal Harry eligible to return to practice this week, and then he can play Week 9 against the Ravens. So let's start it off with this. With N'Keal Harry coming back, we know about the depth issues at the receiver position. How is N'Keal Harry's return going to impact the Patriots offense? I guess you're going to have to say it right away because, hell, the Patriots depth, as of right now, the Patriots depth needs some help. So, Alex, we'll start it off with you. How is his impact going to help out the Patriots?
Well, there's two main areas I'm looking at when N'Keal Harry comes back. First off, we saw Josh Gordon with that scary knee injury last week against the Giants. Not totally sure what his status is, but he hasn't been 100% even before that all year. Now you're adding the knee on top of that if he does play. So I think N'Keal Harry can do some of the same stuff Josh Gordon does. I wouldn't say he's quite the same player, but in the context of their offense, he will help take some of the workload off of Josh Gordon, which will be very helpful, especially here on the back end of the regular season, get Josh Gordon fresh for the playoffs. The other thing he should do is they need help in the red zone. They're struggling mightily in the red zone right now. It hasn't always quite been his game, but size is size. They can figure it out. He should be able to help them out in the red zone as well. So, again, workload off Josh Gordon, that's big. Red zone, that's big. Those are kind of two ifs because those will be semi-new roles for him. But if I'm the Patriots, if I'm Josh McDaniels, if I'm Bill Belichick, that's where I'm looking to plug him in. That's a spot I think he fits, and it helps them fill a need.
All right, so you answered the second question, which is what I wanted anyway, because I should have asked it right away. So, Marv, it's going to be the same thing to you. How big of an impact will the return of N'Keal Harry have, and how are they going to use him? Before we get into it, Alex, you mentioned two things that I really wanted to hit on too. It's the size factor and how I feel like the way he plays is almost going to be the same way that Josh Gordon does with this Patriots offense. It's like Tom Brady throws up the ball and you expect Josh Gordon to go up there and get it. And that seems like that's N'Keal Harry's game. And you brought up the red zone, which I find very interesting because we know when Gronk was here, one of the Patriots' favorite plays to run the red zone was that fade to Gronk in the corner. Now, if N'Keal Harry, big game plan for him, go up there and just pull that ball out of the air, I wonder if it could be the same thing. I wonder if you can just send him to the corner, toss it up there, and have him his game is go up there, pull that ball down out of the air, get that touchdown that way. So I think that's going to be interesting. Marv, before we jump over to you, guys, today's episode of the Patriots Roundtable is brought to you by CBS Sports HQ, the brand new streaming sports news network. No logins or signups required. None. Just download the CBS Sports app and watch CBS Sports HQ today. It's that easy. So, Marv, same questions to you. N'Keal Harry, impact, and how are they going to use him when he comes back?
I first of all, I agree with Alex talking about the red zone. Patriots have struggled the past 2 years, even with Gronk last year on the team. They were struggling mightily with the red zone. So it doesn't hurt to have
that was fake Gronk last year. That was like Gronk 2.0.
That's not the Gronk we all love and remember. But one thing for sure is we talk about the Josh Gordon comparison, how Josh Gordon is outside, go out and get it. I can really see N'Keal Harry in the inside as well, kind of similar to a tight end, where N'Keal Harry's strength is once he gets the ball, it's the yards after catch. He can break one tackle and go off. So I can see him, actually inside more doing some quick slants with Dorsett or maybe Edelman going into the slot as well once everyone is healthy. If Philip Dorsett is still hurt, he's still lingering, then maybe he's more on the outside across from Gordon. Edelman's in the slot. But definitely, once again, red zone is going to be huge to see what you can do with N'Keal Harry because Brady hasn't really relied much on Izzo and Lacoste to be those guys in the red zone area.
Yeah, and with N'Keal Harry, I think the biggest thing that he brings to the table here is depth. Because in reality, I mean, we're sitting here October 14th recording this right now. We don't know what N'Keal Harry is going to be once he actually gets into a game that counts. Preseason, we liked what we saw, right? He was physical and
some tough catches in preseason.
He was making those catches that we were told that he could make when he was making those things back in college. But once he comes back, we don't know what this guy is going to look like, which then I think the biggest thing with him is going to be going up and getting those balls. And I like what you said about going inside too, because the Patriots, I mean, other than Julian Edelman, I think they need that because this team needs to start working on outside and inside because without Gronkowski, it's like the tight end position going inside with the tight end position, I thought was big with Patriots with Rob Gronkowski. And I think N'Keal Harry, like you said, can bring that part back.
Right.
Now,
well, you both bring up an interesting point there, Ned. You can run those fades in the red zone to N'Keal Harry out of the slot. The other important thing to remember, Nick, and I think a lot of people, they see N'Keal Harry's size, they want to talk about him as a go up and get it kind of player, and he certainly can do that. But his skill, and if you remember back to the game in Detroit, he really put this on display. He's more of a go out and get it. It's the catch radius. It's his ability to reach over the sideline or go back and use that massive wingspan he has. So he's not necessarily a jump ball guy in a traditional sense. If you're throwing him contested catches, he's more of a guy you're going to throw to the back shoulder, expect him to anticipate the ball, make the in-air adjustment on the ball, and go out and get a ball over the sideline instead of going up over his head. So I just want to put that out there. And again, the comparisons to Josh Gordon, they're not perfect, like Marv said. He's a guy, it's the quickness. And that's where he compares to Josh Gordon, is on those slant routes. If you're going to run him on comebacks, come and goes, that sort of thing. And again, it factors in where he is a guy who's going to go out and catch the ball away from his body. He's a strong hands catcher, and those are the guys that succeed in New England. Malcolm Mitchell, strong hands catcher. Chris Hogan was a strong hands catcher. You want to go back to Deion Branch, the guys that don't need to bring the ball into their chest. Those are the guys, more often than not, that succeed in this offense, and that's how they need to use N'Keal Harry as a hands catcher, and Brady needs to be throwing him the ball away from his body, leading him on slants and in cuts and that kind of thing.
Okay, now with N'Keal Harry, again, hypothetically, 100% coming back, acting like we know that for sure. Is he going to be enough? I know we've talked a lot about depth, and this is going to be the last part of this topic here, so real quick. The depth portion of this offense, again, the receiver position, it needs some help. And there's been a lot of talk about the Patriots going out and getting somebody via trade, whether that's Emmanuel Sanders, whether that is A.J. Green, whoever it may be. With N'Keal Harry coming back, is he enough? Or do the Patriots still need to go get another guy before the trade deadline? Because by the time he comes back, his first game against the Ravens in Week 9, the trade deadline's already going to be coming and going. So, I mean, you kind of have to make that choice before you see him out there in an actual game. Is he enough? Alex, what do you think?
All right, a couple things here. First off, worst case scenario. Let's say with these receivers, they can't win 2 games. They're 6-2 with N'Keal Harry coming back. They're doing okay. And again, that's worst case scenario. I don't think that will happen. In a perfect world, would they go out and get a wide receiver? Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be great. You can always use more talent at the receiver position, but they have other needs they need to address. I think the offensive line is a more urgent need. I would even say tight end is a more urgent need. To me, tight end's number one because that's going to help you add a pass catcher, and it's somebody who can help.
So are you big on the Tyler Eifert news?
No, because Tyler Eifert is made of tinfoil.
He can't stay on the field.
Right. In theory, the idea is that they need an offensive lineman, specifically a tackle, and they need a pass catcher. Well, a tight end is going to act as a pass catcher, and he's somebody who's going to help you block on the edge of the running game. So it's 2 birds, 1 stone. If you're not going tight end, I think tackle needs to be the way to go. I think N'Keal Harry's going to help them out. I think Josh Gordon will get healthy. I think Philip Dorsett will get healthy. This sort of happens every year, right? We get into October and the beginning of November, and it looks like the wide receiver group's falling apart, and then they come back strong. Let's not forget, yesterday was the anniversary of Tom Brady leading arguably the most impressive single game-winning drive. Not the whole thing in the Super Bowl 28-3, but single drive, under a minute, no timeouts. And who was he throwing the ball to in that game against the Saints? He's throwing to Kembrell Tompkins, the guy who was in and out of the league like that. He's throwing the ball to Austin Collie, perhaps the most concussed player in the history of the NFL. He's throwing the ball. I can't even remember any of the other guys, and that kind of proves my point. So they'll get the wide receiver position figured out. They have the personnel in-house. They're not all available right now, but they have the personnel in-house to make that work. You can't say the same with the offensive line and the tight end. Dan Skipper's not coming in and saving this team. I'm sorry, that's not happening. So would it be great if they could trade for AJ Green? Wonderful. If this was mad and you can make 10 trades, go for it. But it's not.
Oh, look, I don't think the AJ Green scenario is real. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the Bengals are going to want to give that guy up no matter what the circumstances are. But man, I would love AJ Green catching passes from Tom Brady. Marv, what do you think? Is he going to be enough? Do the Patriots have to go out and get another receiver before the trade deadline?
Let's put some respect on my guy Kenbrell Tompkins' name, man.
Oh, I love Kenbrell Tompkins, but I'm just saying.
I know he's out. Let's put some respect on my man's name.
I have his jersey. I don't know how much more respect I can put than that. I do. I have a Kenbrell Tompkins jersey. But let's not forget that he was in the league for, I check your watch. But I love big Kenbrell Tompkins guy.
Shout out to Tompkins. But I agree with everything Alex just said. I believe, yes, Gordon was hurt. We know about Edelman's chest injury, and I still don't think he's 100%. Dorsett, his injury, all three of those injuries, they're not major concerns to me. I think they, slowly, maturely, especially after these 11 days off, the schedule is pretty soft. They're going to have that bye week. I think they're all going to recover. You add in the N'Keal Harry, and let's not forget, this guy is still the first round wide receiver. We still should have high expectations for him there. You have Jacoby Myers, who's filling that Philip Dorsett role of last year, the guy who gets the 2-3 catches and it's gets a first down. He's going to start building more trust.
Big Myers fan. Big Myers fan.
So I think the Patriots wide receiver core is going to be all right. There's other needs. Can we talk about the left side of the offensive line for a second here? Like the left side is sick. We still don't know if Isaiah Wynn is going to be healthy this year. Who knows what happens? It's not guaranteed by week 9. Isaiah Wynn's going to be out there and ready to take over. So I'd put some more emphasis on the offensive line, specifically anywhere in the left side.
Okay, so now with N'Keal Harry coming back, the thing is, it doesn't make the receiver position that desperate that you have to go out and get somebody. But I think if the price is right, and if you can bring in a guy like, let's say, Emmanuel Sanders for a price that's not crazy, for a price that's pretty doable, then why not go and do it? I mean, yeah, Alex, same thing that you said earlier. It's not a bad thing to have too many solid receivers.
It's not. But it's asset management. If you're bringing in another receiver, let's say they trade for AJ Green or Emmanuel Sanders, whoever, where are you pulling off of the roster? They have a pretty impressive roster. You're not going to cut one of your wide receivers. Maybe somebody goes on IR. Maybe they decide that Matt Lacoste, they're done with him and they put him on IR. But for every guy you bring in, you remember somebody's got to leave. We just saw that with Ben Watson, right? They originally didn't bring him back because they didn't have the spot for him. So that's the other thing you've got to remember. I would love it if they could add a tight end, a tackle, and a wide receiver. But you can take Matt Lacoste as one. You're not going to cut any of the offensive linemen you have on the roster right now, especially not the tackles, because they're just familiar with the system. You need that at this point in the year.
Yeah, it's going to come down to what you think you need.
Right, you're killing your depth elsewhere. So as good as it would be for them to bring in a wide receiver, I don't think it's worth the hassle at this point. The other thing I want to bring up real quick, I know we got to wrap up, but Marv kind of hinted at it, made a good point when he compared Jacoby Myers to Philip Dorsett last year. Let's not forget the guy who had that role before Philip Dorsett, who I think is a really good comparison. You go two ways with this. You go Myers or Harry, and that's Malcolm Mitchell. And in Malcolm Mitchell, you had that rookie who kind of came along later and was good for the clutch catch. And that kind of compares to maybe the role Jacoby Myers could have. But on the other hand, everybody wants to talk about, well, how ready will N'Keal Harry be? Let's not forget, Malcolm Mitchell didn't play like the first half of that season and then came in, broke out in that Niners game and went off. So there's a pretty recent history of the Patriots pulling this off, what they're trying to pull off with N'Keal Harry. And that, it's very easy to be cautious, and Patriots fans should be cautious with N'Keal Harry. I'm not telling anybody they should pick him up in fantasy right now. But the fact that Patriots recently pulled this off with Malcolm Mitchell, that gives you a little bit of hope.
And in the end, he's your first round pick. I don't know if that really means anything with Bill Belichick. But I think they would prefer to have their first round pick work out, especially with the recent history with Isaiah Wynn going down last year.